What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is the third installment of our question and answer series with the second time we've done it on the Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out, and I hope to hear from you. Behemoth Barbell asks, how do you like to set up your max effort exercise choice? Do they progress and lead into each other as the weeks progress? Do they get harder as the weeks progress? Are they at random, etc.? So, when I'm far out from a meet, or when clients are far out from a meet, they can be kind of random, but not random to the point where you're just picking whatever. You know, if you did 1 week maybe a rack pull or a deficit pull against some sort of accommodating resistance, those are deadlifts that are going to really beat you up. So the next week, you're not going to choose a very hard variation because you just kind of beat yourself up on that Monday. So you might just put a regular box squat or something like that. So you have to look at them in sequence. A good thing to do, is picking exercises that are hard but not heavy. So a low box, narrow stance safety squat bar is going to be hard. You're going to have to strain, but the weight isn't going to be too heavy because the movement itself is difficult. So that's a good way to you can kind of mix that in. So if you had a really hard lift, let's say, one of those deadlifts we talked about, the next week you could do that box squat because it's going to mitigate the amount of weight that you handle so you don't get beat up. So you have to look at it as a whole. You don't just look at the week you're doing, you look at the week before and what you might be doing after and how far out you are from the meet. And that's how you can figure out which max effort you'd be putting in there. Behemoth Barbell asks again, when someone comes out of the hole in a squat and the first thing that happens is their hips shoot up, what is the issue muscularly and technically? So some of that is going to be timing. Some of that's going to be foot placement. Losing an upper back tightness is going to cause you to round, so your chest is going to drop and your hips are going to come up. A good cue that I've heard Louis say before is pushing your back into the bar. A lot of people don't think of that. They think of their feet through the floor, but pushing your back into the bar is going to help keep your chest up. A big thing that causes your hips to shoot up is your chest dropping. So if you're pulling the bar into your back and flexing your lats, bringing your collarbones up, rotating your elbows under, it's going to be very hard to get bent over and have your hips shoot up first. So it seems like it would be a lower body issue, but in actuality, it's usually positionally, and it's usually an upper body thing where you're losing your upper back and your lats get soft. So you dump, and then your legs kick in, and then you have to finish with your lower back. So generally for that sort of stuff, it's going to be technique and then some muscular imbalances, but mostly technique and getting tight under the bar. TSTIL_ asks, when I used conjugate, I ended up using too much variations for too long and ended up not knowing what carried over and what didn't. What's the best way to stop this from happening? Best way to stop that from happening is condense your variations. If you're relatively new, you don't need a crazy amount of variations. You can basically do anything and get stronger. So pick 5 to 10 and just rotate them. And if you find that one of them doesn't really correlate to the other ones, like let's say your bench goes, you've got 10 exercises, your bench is going up, and there's 2 of those exercises that don't go up, or they go up a lot, and then your regular bench doesn't. Scrap those. You want the ones that stay in line with the other lifts, and you know those are having carryover because they correlate to the numbers that you're actually pressing. So just take the amount of variations and cut them down quite a bit. D-Ball BG asks, I have very laggy triceps shoulders. For someone like me, my arms are very long for my structure. Should I do 3 times a week, max effort plus repetition method, plus another repetition method? Thanks. Should I do upper 3 times a week? I would not say you need 3 full upper workouts a week. I think the best way to do this would be add in volume on your extra workouts. You don't need, it says here, max effort, repetition method, and then another repetition method. I mean, I guess some of them would be repetition method, the extra workouts, but what I would do is, start doing almost like pump workout, 20 minutes, side raises, triceps, bicep curls, that sort of thing, upper back with a band or light weights for high reps. It's going to get a lot of blood in there to help grow those areas. It's free volume that you're not going to get sore from. It'll actually help you be less sore. Another thing that I've had people do in the past with great success is between squatting, take a light band and just do pull-aparts or push-downs. It's not going to affect your training of lower, and it's not going to make you sore for upper, but it's free volume. So you figure if you do 5 sets of squats, you do 20 of those between each one, that's 100 pull-aparts or push-downs. You're in the gym 4 days a week, times 4, times a month. It adds up pretty quickly, so that's a good way to get good volume in to help build some size. Sungala Strength asks, best books for someone wanting to study the conjugate methodology in depth. Hey man, like you can't beat like the OG Book of Methods. That's one of the best. I mean, it's a little outdated. Some stuff has changed. That's a really great resource for that. As far as in depth, as far as studying it in depth, I think the best way you can do is get general knowledge and then train and track everything. Track everything you do. Track what you're eating, how much you're sleeping, your volume, everything down to your cable rows, how much weight you're using, what you're doing for your extra workouts. And then you can look back and track, and you have actual data where you can say this is working and this isn't. Books are great, and I think they're very important. I think that reading is very important. Learning always, all the time. I try and learn every day more about this sport and how to help people and how to get better myself. But the strongest people in the world are training. And there's a reason for that. So train, take notes, and then look at the information that you have, extrapolate information from that, and you'll have a better understanding of how to apply it for yourself and for others. Donnie Ross 242. What have you seen as some of the best max effort indicator lifts for the main lifts, especially closer to comp, specifically in regards to gear? That's really sort of a personal thing. I know for a long time a good indicator for me was briefs and knee wraps, or straps down with knee wraps. Both of those movements I don't do anymore. So it's kind of changed what my indicators are. As far as like specific max effort work that will help you or is a good indicator for you, that's something you have to decide. And the way to do that is track everything. You have to look and you have to say, okay, the last meet I did this, this, and this, and these are the last 5 max effort lowers that I had, and I got 50-pound PRs on all of those. And then I went to the meet and I didn't PR my squat. Okay, well look, did you have a technical breakdown? No, you were good technically. Okay, so it's not a technical issue. It's a strength issue. So what's carrying over? Your accessories stay the same, your deadlift has gone up, so those 5 squat movements are not carrying over, or you're performing them incorrectly, so the carryover isn't helping with your strength. So you would scrap those or put them further away from a comp, and you know that because you can look, it's right there. It's like, how'd I do in the meet? How'd I do in training? If they don't match up, then something is awry. And you need to look at that. Take all of the external factors and look at those too. And if everything's square outside of the gym and those are still not, it still doesn't make sense, they're not carrying over, then you don't use those. But you need to take the time and kind of be in the trenches to find what works for you and what isn't working for you. The ones that don't work for you, scrap them. The ones that kind of work for you, do them far out from a meet. And the ones that are direct indicators, use them closer to a meet. All right, so that's all we got. I hope this was informative for everybody. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. If there's anything else you want to see from the channel or from the Instagram, please reach out and let us know. And if you have any questions, just shoot us a message. We'd be happy to answer them.